What's up, everybody? Berserker Bear coming to you with another installment of Bushwhacking Tartaria, trying to tackle the narrative at the Niagara Falls. If nothing else, just to show a couple anomalies and some interesting insights that I have on the timeline as far as power, how Tesla is involved in this, as far as power goes and power generation from the falls, and some also, like I say, some anomalies. Now, in being with the title of my series here, Boots on the Ground, Bushwhacking Tartaria. There go your boots on the ground right there. That's the Tesla monument that's actually right here. That's where I was a couple days ago with the fam, and definitely got some pictures, but for the sake of being able to jump through this is a massive undertaking here. Everything just keeps on opening up into more stuff that I have to look into. So I'm just trying to get right through it. And there go your boots on the ground right here. I'm there. I was there with the family. There goes the plaque right in front of it too. But this is just going to be, this will be a general overview of a brief timeline of the falls, settling of the falls, how it became utilized for power for mills initially, tanning mills, then for power generation on a more massive scale, and a possible grabble, a swindle, a massive accident, and we're going to try to bring that full circle to, like I said, a general timeline, the power, how power generated, and how there are some anomalies here, and how it relates, here we go, to Tartaria with the older buildings here. There's a few older buildings that they called, that they are the generating power stations, and we have a lot of these old, I'm sorry for that these are sideways, but okay, this is the Ontario Power Company, and that would be these buildings on the Canadian side. This would all be considered the Ontario Power Company, or this portion right here. This is a building that I'm going to get into later at the end of this series, at the end of this video. I'm going to cite a couple different other videos here too. Hopefully I can get it in within a half hour. So Ontario Power Company is there. What you see right here is the Niagara Falls Shokoff hydraulic dam. This right here. I have more information on that, but that is, as far as where that is oriented, will be on the other side. The old Shokoff Dam is downstream from both falls, past the Rainbow Bridge, at this area right here. Now this is where effectively the old Shokoff Dam was. And an anomaly is this thing right here, because this is what's named the Shokoff Power Station, but when I cited the accident earlier, there were mills all up and along here, even back here also. But the accident was there was a collapse of the Shokoff Dam. It's on video. We're going to see it. Get your popcorn. Very, very peculiar how they have that on video also. JP Morgan's fingerprints are on that. I'll try to tie that in. Okay. But all those things that this actually fell off into the water. We're going to watch a video of that. This was all there in old school pictures. This little cobblestone type deal, and I'm going to try to make a case for another anomaly, that this is a rebranding of something that was named. Keep an eye on this thing, how this is named the Shokoff Power Station, and what this thing is. Effectively, now it's an elevator, I believe, but it looks older, and this feature itself is very interesting, and I might have to do a part 2 on this, or another series in general, because this is just the falls, trying to tackle the falls expands into something that I can't get into in a half an hour. There goes, I think, the old canals that supplied these mills that were right here. So let's get into some gravy. I believe that an old canal went through here. Their old canals went through here underground. There's underground tunnels that I'm going to show you guys, and they have red brick. And there's also evidence in here that I'm going to show you guys of the actual facade, the being laid over the old brick. It's unbelievable, guys. Some dude got underneath these tunnels, and I'm just going to do we're going to do a general overview of a timeline. I'm going to show you some cool videos. I got you my boots on the ground. There goes Berserker Bear in Tesla's lap, pretty much crushing. So anomalies with this. This is an anomaly right here. Tartaria related, maybe. We got some gravy on that later. That could be the Bedell staircase. I believe it's the Bedell staircase usurped, rebranded, renamed, and there could have been quite a few Bedell staircases for your archive.org searches. We're going to see how it's anomalous about this building being down here. This old building that we looked at earlier, the Ontario Power Company, they say this building was built in 1905 in the style of old grandeur. I highly doubt that. Highly doubt that. And we're gonna hammer that home later in a video that I have for you guys. So let's go through. I'm gonna go through the timeline. I did some research on this myself. This is obviously geology. The important point here is Father Louis Hennepin was a Roman Catholic missionary priest that came over here at that time period. I suspect possible Jesuit. And we all know what's going on. Well, for those who know what's going on, I'm not going to get into that. We all know what's going on with the Jesuits and what they do with history, and that the Jesuit. You can go down that rabbit hole yourself. So that being said, bear with me. Thought I had a bottle of water with me. So Father Hennepin is very important to look up. I believe he's the first missionary credited for founding Niagara Falls and looking at it and probably bringing it out to the world and, you know, doing everything with the natives and Roman Catholic Jesuit stuff. Not even going to get into that, but it's very interesting if you want to. So, history of Niagara Falls, chronology. Per this video right here, you're going to see where I'm pulling from right now. There was a Frenchman by the name of Jean Kerr, which I couldn't find any information on, but he came in the mid to 1600s and started a mill, probably cut a little canal and used the mill. They used the power of the water initially for mills, and I'm going to show that in this video. It was milling for tanning mills, and they used it probably to turn wood turbines. You know, when because the Tartarian information was lost. But anyway, yeah, anomalies here. I don't think this was built in 1905. In my opinion, there were other buildings that were over here underneath the Shokoff Dam that were built that I don't think were built in 1905. Also, the two power stations above the falls, the old ones. Oh, here we go. This is the Niagara Falls Power Company, the American side one. And I'll show you where that is right now. Pass by it on the Robert Moses. It sunk into the water. Anyway. The Canadian one. There goes Tartaria for you. They say they built it in the style of... They said this was built in 1905. Let's look at this real quick. Completed in 1906. Completed. When did it start? There you go. That's a gravel right there. And it's built in the style of Tartaria, or with the columns, right? I can't really find and that would be... The Canadian one would be this one right here. I'm sorry, sideways, but that's it right there. Okay. See it? That's it. Okay. I think this is all older. Might even be Marley machine related, Campbell. Okay. There goes your orientation. I believe that these are, we came upon these, and they say they're completed at that time because they don't say when they're built. Even though in the videos that, you know, the History Channel videos say that they were built at that time, and they stand by that. That's the bottleneck of academia right there. And I believe that these people probably believe that it was built at that time, but I don't buy that. So let's timeline, back to the timeline. Let's get into it. Father Hennepin, possible Jesuit, in my opinion. Okay, and then there's a lot of stuff here as far as like the War of 1812, which we think is a lot of covering up of, you know, the former Tartarian Empire being all over the place. I don't really want to get into that too much with the Niagara Falls stuff. I want to be more to topic. This is interesting here too. We're going to get into that. The Terrapin Tower construction. Terrapin Tower. This bad boy right here. On Goat Island it was. Gravy right there. We're going to lead into that. Chronology. Terrapin Tower, very cool. Interesting. Horse-drawn cars used for the first railroad. Right, but they built buildings like looking like this. Down inside the gorge. With horse-drawn carriage technology. Right, clearly there was water coming out of here at one point in time. There's tunnels underneath here. Horse-drawn carriage tunnel. Wait till you see inside of here, guys. Wait till you see inside of there. Talk about red brick. Okay, timeline. So you got from the Father Hennepin to construction of the Terrapin Tower, 1833. I doubt it. I think it was probably built earlier. Made of the mist. All that. Here's where we get into something interesting, and they completely go over it in this. See where we're at, band in Niagara, from 1897 to 1901. They completely go over the energy. Well, here it is, but they don't talk at all about Tesla and how that the gravel right there with Edison and everything. I can explain that. I'll get into that right now. Actually, in my opinion, I believe that they conceded to Tesla. He won out. He beat Edison real quick here. Tesla beat out Edison's direct current because AC was able to travel over much more further distances. Okay, now I say that I want to preface this and say that I think that Tesla was probably used as the idea to be able to transmit energy over long distances over wire. Meanwhile, he probably knew that it could be harnessed anywhere on the spot, but he had to concede probably to these robber barons that we're looking at right here. Namely, this dude right here. You see that guy's very familiar looking. Looks like J.P. Morgan. He was funding Tesla originally, long story short, and when he got wind that Tesla was trying to just give it away on the spot for free, this dude was like, what, dude? No, you're not going to do that. Remove your funding, boom, zip, give it to Edison, all the information and all the patents and everything that Edison is accredited for, I believe, were all Teslas. So that being said, I think that they had to give Tesla a little bit of credit. He's got statues there. So I think that they gave him credit for giving power to the Pan American Express from Niagara Falls. Exactly what they're citing right here. First AC central power, that's it right there. AC over DC. Edison was trying to smear Tesla because of that, electrocuting elephants in the street for spectacle against AC, alternating current, trying to sell his DC current to the robber barons. But I think that whole thing was a grabble just to get Tesla some credit for being able to transmit energy over distances, hiding the idea, and whether they had him blackmailed or something like that as to why he didn't come out and say it, or they just had their thumb over him. They gave him credit, and they gave him his statues in Niagara Falls for going over Edison, and Edison took credit for everything else. That's my take on that. Without getting too far into this, I got a lot more to go. So that's my take on that. I think that Tesla probably knew the ancient Tartarian free energy, grabbing from the aether from the Wardenclyffe Tower. Even when he was living in the New Yorker, he was doing experiments in the New Yorker hotel up until the day that he died, and the Office of Strategic Services came in, took all of his stuff after he died. John G. Trump looked at it, and then the rest is history. That's a whole nother rabbit hole also. So let's get into moving from the mill power of the falls, very, very low energy yield of mills just for tanneries and tannery mills, to trying to harness the massive power for the electrical industrial age of the robber barons and the swindle they're going to try to put on that. Now you see what I'm looking at here. I hope I don't get hit with a copyright. This is clearly where I'm coming from here. I'm showing you the sites in here, and let's listen to what's going on.
By 1805, New York State officials were granting unlimited water diversion rights to various private power ventures. At a public auction,
diverting the water and able to use it for mills power.
Judge Augustus Porter and his brother Peter purchased water rights to the American Eastern Rapids above and below the falls.
It was basically the same problem they had hundreds of years earlier. There just wasn't sufficient technology to utilize all the power that could be generated by the falls. Smaller falls were more than sufficient, and they were much easier to harness.
There you go.
Again, the Porter family offered free land to build a canal to anyone who would be interested, and they weren't really able to attract any investors.
Various engineers and entrepreneurs tried to tame Niagara, none successfully. Until 1860, when the Niagara Falls Hydraulic Power and Manufacturing Company built a canal.
Look at this. Allegedly built a canal, no construction photos. And there's definitely some ladders in here, UAP. You're right about that, dude, for sure. And look at this. Okay, built a canal. I don't buy any of this stuff, really. I really don't.
35 feet wide and 8 feet deep. The canal transported water from the Niagara River above the falls to the mills below the falls, but failed to attract business.
Look at that. Failed to attract businesses. It just doesn't look, you know, they had better picture taking capabilities at the time.
Soon after the canal was completed, the company went bankrupt.
Of course.
Entrepreneur Horace Day took over and for the next 17 years worked sporadically on the canal, deepening it, widening it, and lengthening it. But he had only one customer and also went bankrupt in 1877.
1877 went bankrupt. It just seems hazy to me. That part of the history seems hazy to me with the mills and everything. Seems like they were trying to grab. Seems like the robber barons were trying to grab the land, maybe put those guys out of business because they wanted to do a bigger one, and we're gonna see that. And this kind of reminds me of, hey, Campbell, I don't know where this was. Listen to what they say, but it looks like a Marley machine. Another video.
Power was first used to produce electricity at a plant on the Fox River near Appleton, Wisconsin, on September 30th, 1882. But it wasn't until a visionary European manufacturer purchased Horace Day's canal that man would again attempt to utilize Niagara Falls' vast power.
There you go. This is where the gravy starts. Okay, this dude right here is Jacob Shokoff, and that's who this dam is named after, the one that collapsed. But the portion that collapsed wasn't the portion they're calling the Shokoff Dam right now. And there's an anomaly there. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an anomaly. This is what collapsed. They call this the Shokoff Dam, though. I don't know. I can't find anybody wants to find me gravy on what that structure is. We're going to do some more about it. Let's hear about Shokoff here.
Jacob Shokoff was a German immigrant who came to Buffalo in the mid-1850s. He was an affluent tanner who saw a good business opportunity.
After he purchased the canal, he built a few mills there. He attracted the interest of other mill owners from Buffalo. Before long, there were grain mills there and pulp mills and other small manufacturing outfits, which was all well and fine, but even so, this still represented sort of an old way of harnessing power. Now, in the 1880s, an engineer who worked for the Erie Canal, Thomas Evershed,
important,
put forth a proposal that kind of was a bridge between what Shokoff did and what would be done at the Niagara Falls Power Company.
So they're trying to get they're trying to use the ideas of the mills using the water, but use it for a way bigger energy source. Okay, and Evershed, He sheds light on things, just typically how they do things. Names mean things. Thomas Evershed. I didn't look up gravy on him. I did a little bit in my research, but he's the one that's responsible effectively for giving the idea of a massive, huge hydraulic power energy station.
He proposed building an inlet canal off the upper river, which would in turn have individual mills located along it.
Oh, there you go.
At a point above the falls, this canal would suddenly
Here you go.
end and the water would be empty.
Now, I want you to see this. There goes, what does that look like to you? And see all these old buildings down here? Okay. Now, in 1956, that Shokoff Dam collapsed. Let's see what this wraps up to.
That's the part
See it?
that was kind of a unique take on it, the idea of having a tail race tunnel built under the city. This concept drew a lot of interest.
Some of the nation's leading financiers lined up behind Evershed's plan and were willing
Here
to
you go.
invest their capital in it. These included Vanderbilt's, Astor's, Morgan's.
Boom, boom, boom.
Edward Dean Adams, who later became the president of the Niagara Falls Power Company and its first historian. Big money behind it.
Okay, so what's happening is they're trying to grabble the mill owners, the old local smaller mill owners, so they can get the power and go over them and over their backs. Okay, now this is an important part here.
Tunnel would generate 200,000 horsepower at the falls by turning gigantic water wheels. The tunnel would be 2 miles long and at least 160 feet deep.
Okay, now they're talking about the tunnel. I'm going to have to try to wrap this up. Now, here's the deal. There was a treaty that was signed because the people of the naturalists wanted to keep the preservation of the falls, and they thought that if there was a 1905 treaty that was signed for preservation of water rights, and so everybody wasn't using water, and the Niagara River didn't come to a trickle, and there wasn't any more Niagara Falls, right? So there's a 1905 treaty that was signed to allow, or to not allow people to take as much water from the falls. Now that treaty was up in 1950. Okay, that treaty was up in 1950. Now what happened in 1956 is interesting. That dam collapsed, allegedly from a former earthquake. But of course, then they have video. They have video here of it, which is very confusing to me. Now it seems like they were waiting for the treaty to look at that. It seems to me like they were waiting for that treaty to be up in 1950. Okay, and I believe that treaty went from 1905, the Water Rights Treaty, and it ended in 1950. Okay, the collapse of the dam that you can see happening here on video, and for some reason they have a video of it. There's no video. There's no video of these buildings being built. Allegedly in 1905. Excuse me. This building being built in 1905. What it says in that video that we were watching. But there's video on the spot of the dam collapsing, and it was allegedly just a freak thing. It wasn't like being ready to happen, or it wasn't. There was no earthquake that happened on the spot. There was an earthquake that happened previously, back in the day, that they thought messed up some structure deep in the dam. But anyway, after the Watershed Rights Treaty was ended in 1950, 6 years later, the robber barons had themselves an accident on the Shokoff Dam. Okay, now that's a very interesting portion of Grabble for me. I think that they were waiting for that to happen, because what happened after that is they were able to build the bigger dam downstream, because they wanted to. The new treaty that was signed in 1950 still kept the water rights, but they wanted to keep the integrity of the actual falls themselves. So you couldn't do any more construction in the falls in this basin right here to keep the serenity of it. That's the whole idea of it. So what the robber barons did was, like I said, go up and over. And that's what they did. They went up and over and made the Niagara Falls Power Project. Power authority right there. The robber barons came together and did that. That happened after the fall of the Shokoff Dam, so they can completely seal off that draw and completely bottleneck and usurp all the energy. Effectively, is my opinion. That's that grabble, and there goes the end of that dam. But the old one, that interesting one, is still here. And here's a very here goes what I want to wrap this up on, because I'm going to have another video about this, guys. I got to wrap this up under half an hour. I got only 5 more minutes, but yeah, I think that anomaly, the Shokoff Dam that they call right now, was there before, and those buildings were all there before. And this is that tunnel, guys, that I was looking at before. Wait till you see what's in there. Look at this video. I highly recommend watching this video. This guy goes into those tunnels, shows how he did it. And look at, guys, red brick. Look at how you can see the facade over it. That's it right there. There it goes. That's how they facade over it, the facade. That could almost be like how they did Sacsayhuama, honestly. Look at that. I highly suggest watching that video. You see what that is? Exploring the Canadian Niagara Power William B. Ranke Generating Station and Traylace. Here we go, Terrapin Point. Now this is where we're going to look at the anomaly of this thing here. I think that this is actually was formerly the Bedell Staircase, guys, and you could do your own research on that. But the Terrapin, see how the Terrapin Point is on Goat Island? Sorry about that. Terrapin Point is on Goat Island. This is we're facing Goat Island, like we're looking like this from these pictures. Terrapin Point would have been, I believe, on Goat Island facing this way. Terrapin Point's up here, actually. I think it was right there. Okay, keep that in mind, because nothing that I can find says that this thing, the Shokoff, is actually the Bedell Staircase. But look at this, guys. See where we are? Bedell Staircase at the Cave of the Winds. The Cave of the Winds is on Goat Island. There may have been a couple of these things. But then we see a Table Rock also. Table Rock's across in Canada. It's very interesting. The picture that gets me, though, is this one. This is saying that this is the Bedell Staircase, which is this thing. The staircase. See that staircase? There could be a couple of them. But this picture is saying that's the artist's rendering of the Bedell Staircase at the Cave of the Winds. This isn't the Cave of the Winds. This is downstream. This is looking upstream towards Goat Island right here. And the American Falls. So I believe this Terrapin Staircase, this Bedell Staircase is actually this, in my opinion. But it's not named that. That's an anomaly. And it just puts a bigger question on what this structure is. I mean, it's named the Shokoff Power Station, but that's not what collapsed. And this was there before then. And I want to end this on this video and this guy's video. You need to watch this one. Mudflood Shokoff Power Station. This guy absolutely nails it. I'm going to end on this. If I can come back in after what he says, I will. But listen here.
To the history of Niagara Falls and the Shokoff Power Station, go look at the old pictures and look at the Shokoff Power buildings in particular. And I'll tell you what I saw when I looked at the various pictures. You have this old picture which shows all the old industry at the top of the falls, nice and neatly. The water from the canal was actually used and channeled into these different manufacturing businesses. But here we have a very early picture showing industry. and harnessing of the falls, and then only until about
There
supposedly
you go.
1905 do these buildings show.
That's that building right there. Might have been the old Bedell staircase, I think. Look at these buildings, too. Mudflood.
These buildings, I stand to be corrected, are not in the old pictures.
Listen to
So
this
the
guy.
other question is, where's photos of construction of the Shokoff power plant buildings? I can't find them. And these are old buildings. They look like they could even predate 1905. And construction of them, supposing they were built at the beginning of 1905, well, there should be evidence of this. This is a heavily documented, iconic Niagara Falls. I mean, my goodness, there's thousands of pictures of this place. So there should be pictures of construction of these Shokoff buildings. Now, that would be a pretty amazing sight to see as well, because for these buildings to have been built, that would have been a major engineering feat to construct them. Perhaps
I agree.
to even stop the flow of water.
And no pictures. No pictures at all. And they're supposedly allegedly built around 1905. And all the names are jarbled and different.
To bring down heavy equipment to build these buildings, concrete forms and rebar and crane, all this kind of stuff. It would have taken years to build these things. So I don't really see evidence showing this. And here's these mysterious pictures of, to start with, you have industry and the Shokoff buildings are not present. Then this other photographic
Boom.
evidence that suggests these buildings were built in 1905. I'll tell you what I think happened. I'm going to get right to the point. I think it's possible that the Shokoff buildings at a previous time were buried underneath the rubble at the bottom of the fall.
Boom! This dude just steps up to the plate and knocks it out of the firmament. I found this at a backwater search on the web a couple days ago, and it just completely synchronicity. Are you kidding me? This dude just steps up to the plate and knocks it out of the firmament. I didn't even think of that, and it probably is that.
Ancient buildings.
Look,
And perhaps maybe with heavy equipment, cranes, I don't know, the rubble was removed. And oh my goodness, there's actually buildings under there. And maybe it's from a prehistoric colonial type of buildings that actually is part of the power generation of the falls. That's
There you
what
go.
I think. This is what I speculate. I'm not 100% certain of this. So this isn't a video to state things as fact. This is really a speculative kind of video that I'm looking for input from people.
there you go. That's it. That guy just absolutely nailed it. I would highly suggest watching that. Very cool. I'm going to sign this off. There's definitely going to be a part 2. If nothing else, like I said, hopefully that was a general timeline of what happened as far as the power grabble and everything in Tesla, and a general outline of this place. And you know what? This guy said it was probably buried. You know what? So was that power station, probably right here. Probably buried. And we probably came upon them, because if there's going to be pictures, this is the most iconic area in the world, one of them. You don't got construction pictures of something like this? I don't buy it. Okay, Berserker Bear is going to round this one out. I'll report back as always, and we're going to have maybe a part 2, a part 3 of Niagara Falls, because it keeps on getting bigger. Hope you like that one. Questions, comments, please put them down there. Thumbs up, sub, and get this one on out there. Catch you later. Take care.